not, because it's going to be bad.
Well, Brian, let me ask you, what's the mood of the GM employees out there? Do they think the company is going to go belly up? I think at least they should file for bankruptcy and try to work their way out of this thing. But what do you folks feel?
Well, I think we all feel the same thing. We're all scared.
Sure.
We don't know what's going to happen.
Folks, it's all globalism. Look at how they wanted 29 ports for UAE, the Arabs. Look at how Spanish companies are taking over the roads for pennies on the dollar. Look at how China wants to buy up our big three. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the New World Order. The target is the United States. The carbon tax is only going to shut down Europe and the U.S., China, India, Mexico. 162 other countries have to make zero cuts, and Obama is going to sign an executive order his second day in office on the 23rd of January. Ladies and gentlemen, think about this. Now, look, I'm not for socialism, but I don't want to give $5 trillion to foreign banks to literally come back in and
buy us out.
And buy us out. Absolutely. Give 25, and we're not giving it. It's a $25 billion loan to these American automakers. And look, I'm not even lobbying for that. If they wouldn't have done the banker bailout, I'd be against it. But they're already devaluing the currency. The currency.
I'd be in favor of this if they let Lee Iacocca oversee all three of the auto companies. Because
Absolutely.
He's the only one that got a government loan for Chrysler when he headed it up at the time and got it paid back way in advance. Brian, would you guys live with that?
I would live with it. I would absolutely live with it.
Well, it's a national security issue, and we can't let globalists and China take over our industry. Come on, folks.
Let's go next to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Eric, first-time caller, you're on the air with us. Go ahead, Eric.
Hey, George, how you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I know you're talking about the economy right now, but I heard you a couple minutes ago say something about lights over Philadelphia and over
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
there's a breaking story about some very strange lights in that region, specifically Philadelphia, but who knows where they're going.
Okay, because I'm a truck driver. I actually just got back to my depot in Harrisburg, but tonight between 8 o'clock and 9:30, driving from Harrisburg down through Lancaster County, Chester County, and into Philadelphia, I saw these beams of light. What it reminded me of was when they had the memorial for the 9/11, the beam of light going in the air.
Right.
But these beams of light were not going from the ground. These were up in the air,
coming
in the
down.
clouds, and there were hundreds of them. You could see them. I was driving, it's probably 75 miles, and the whole way going, I could see these in the sky.
And nobody has reported on what they are, if they're conventional or earthbound.
There is nothing on the radio down here about it, on local channels or anything. And like I said, I just heard this about 15 minutes ago when you said that the reports were coming in.
Well, George,
I thought I was going crazy earlier.
Alex,
I have a good idea.
What do you think's going on up there? Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Eric. I know that in relationship to HARP, which for folks that don't know, it's real, and the government now is admitting a lot of the chemtrails. They claim it's weather modification and over-the-horizon radar and a bunch of other military applications. More and more we're seeing these beams of light in the daytime, and we're seeing them at nighttime, and they're associated with military operations ionizing the atmosphere with these antenna arrays. It's classified. We don't know what it is. I mean, this could be something else. I'm just saying that it's a good chance that could be it.
Isn't it interesting, though, Alex, that all this happens during this meltdown? I mean, that you know the way I feel about there are no. I wonder if they're tied together somehow.
Well, I grew up in Dallas, and I don't really cover the whole UFO thing, but I grew up in Dallas. I have a lot of friends and family up there, north of there, Denton, and where they see these things 3 football fields long. I mean, I got friends that have seen it. I don't know what's going on. A lot of it is black ops. A lot of it is secret technology. But who knows? I mean, bottom line, we are living in some crazy times.
Next up, let's go to Nashville, Tennessee. Bradley, you're on with Alex Jones. Go ahead, Bradley.
Hi, thank you for letting me on,
Of
Alex.
course.
I'm a big fan. My question to you, sir, is there a chance in our lifetime, if the people rise up against this big financial pyramid scheme, is there a chance that we can move from a monetary, oil-based society and economy to a resource-based society and economy where we harness the energy from the ocean turbines, where we harness the energy such as out in California, the windmills, where we put things out in the desert that harness the energy of the sun. How can regular people stop what you're saying is going to happen? And I'll take your answer off the air, sir.
Well, there are hundreds of suppressed technologies and real technologies. It just takes billions of dollars to advertise them, to deliver them to the public. And George has a lot of guests that are more informed on that than I. But there's no doubt that we're in a suppressed level of technological development, though it's growing, and the elite is at a more advanced level. And so just the stuff that's documented would solve all our problems. But there's really nothing even wrong with the oil-based economy. I mean, we shouldn't be suppressed from moving out of it. But what the New World Order wants is neo-feudalism. They want to control people. They don't want middle-class, upwardly mobile, independent people. So they're trying to stranglehold the fossil fuel economy as a world tax, and then also through world government suppress the real technologies and give people basically shadows of what they could deploy, you know, things that don't work as well. So the New World Order is all about slowing true technological development. They're monopoly men.
Alex, years ago I was doing some media marketing for an ophthalmologist who was just developing LASIK surgery in the St. Louis area. And, you know, he called me over and, you know, we did our pitch and things like that. And we got the account. And he, you know, wanted more people to come to his surgery center. And I noticed a Rolls Royce parked in the parking lot when I left. And I went, man, you know, you're trying to get people to come in and spend money with you, and you're in a very highly blue-collar industrialized area, and there's a Rolls-Royce in the parking lot. So I went back in, and I said, whose Rolls-Royce is that? And he said, it's mine. And I said, Doc, let me give you your first free advice. Get rid of it or put it in your garage, ride it on weekends when you go out with your wife, but get yourself a nice car, a Ford or a Chevy or a Chrysler, and keep that on your parking lot, because people are going in to spend money with you. They don't want to see you in a Rolls. The automobile executives today, pleading for $25 billion in bailout, show up in their private jets doing their thing. Why can't they fly coach, Alex?
It's because they're arrogant and they're disconnected from the public, and the media, you know, focused in on AIG and these lavish retreats, or they focus on how the G20 meeting is set up, world government, we're drinking 500 bottles of wine. But the economies of scale, that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's the trillions that they're spending, and it's like Marie Antoinette, the story goes, at the start of the French Revolution, the people are starving, and they said they want bread, and she said, I don't care if they're starving, let them eat cake, and laughed at them. And then, of course, that information got into the public, and they stormed the Bastille and burned down part of the palace, and the rest was history with the guillotine. So, yeah, I'm not saying bail out the automakers. All I'm saying is their corruption, their bureaucracy, their lethargy, their lack of innovation is nothing compared to these offshore foreign banks that are the ones that have killed our economy. I mean, they're the ones that lobbied to have tax incentives for the last 20 years for companies to move offshore. They're the ones that push for globalization. They're the ones that are now turning our economy off so everything implodes so they can come in and buy us up for the fire sale. And so, you know, that's my overall message, is that if the auto companies were really part of the elite, they'd be getting the bailout. Instead, the media is kind of making that the big issue as a distraction. But I mean, I do think it's very important. But overall, in the mainstream media, it's a distraction. From $2 trillion of $5 trillion, and the congressmen say to Bernanke, they say to Kashkari, they say to Paulson, where'd the money go? And they just laugh at them. I saw Kashkari last Friday laughing.
Talk about arrogance. Talk about arrogance. Alex, we're out of time, but I'm sure you and I will have another time, all right?
George, thank you you so much for having me on, and I really appreciate the fact that you're the only big national talk show host that will actually cover these issues, and it's quite a phenomenon, and good luck with your incredibly powerful television show, my friend.
We'll see what happens, my friend. Alex Jones, up next, we continue with the economic meltdown, a special report with Dr. Aubrey Bolton. He is forecasting a depression by 2010.
Doing all right.